Hey y'all, it's your favorite cozy girl, Chi the Reality Queen, and I'm back again with another episode of RHOP Chronicles. Today I'll be talking about Real Housewives of Potomac Season 7 Reunion Part 2. So, Candace just continues to read these women for filth. Like, she is so good at it, it's scary. It's funny because I was talking with one of my friends about why Candace was so likable this season, and I've come to the conclusion, because I was not a huge Candace stan prior to this season, but I think one of the biggest points that she corrected was, one, she doesn't cry nearly as much anymore. Like that little triangle, the little square or triangle that she would make every time she started crying, it was getting tiring. It's like, girl, not everything is worth crying over, right? And then also, sometimes she would read people when it wasn't deserved, right? Like, you're reading people that didn't even do anything to you. Or you would go so low, and it's like, girl, why are you going that low? Like, they just said your weave was ugly, and now you said, I'm glad your daddy did. Like, it was so insane, the reads and how low she would go. So I think that made her unlikable. I don't mind reads. I'm always here for a good read. I will laugh at a good read. But when you're reading somebody who didn't read you or said something so slight and you decide to go to hell with it, it's like, girl, what's going on? But I think this season, she did not read anybody unnecessarily. Everybody she read absolutely deserved the read they received. Like, it was necessary, right? We see the clip of her or Robin going in on her again, and then they show the clip of Robin being told, like, or on Watch What Happens Live, talking about how, oh, here comes my sweatered baby, about how, she should talk about her life on camera. And it just goes to show that Robin was being very disingenuous. And it's like, girl, you hopping into these conversations telling people what they should and shouldn't do when it's what you don't do yourself. So I think, Candace being really hurt by that on Twitter now makes so much more sense, because we're seeing the back end of Candace being hurt by Robin. But we're like, we don't know why she's so hurt. I'm like, okay, she lied. Trust me, I'm like, girl, you should have had that situation on camera. But I didn't realize that she was trying to tell Candace that everything she does should be on camera, but then turns around and keeps so much off camera. I did not realize that. But seeing that here, it's like, oh, okay. Now I see why Candace was so hurt, because it's like, girl, you're my friend and you're trying to read me and tell me that I need to keep everything on camera, and you're being very dishonest and you are not doing the same. So I get it. Her tirade on Twitter made so much more sense in the context of the reunion and getting all that information. Okay, Andy holding Giselle's feet to the fire a little bit, like calling her a hypocrite, talking about how she doesn't like talking about her personal life, but she wants everybody to talk about her personal life. Like, he was even asking her about her surgery, and she was, halfway in tears talking about, oh, we'll talk about it later. And he was like, no, we will talk about it now, because it's true. Giselle always tries to scapegoat herself out of having to talk about her situation. She don't want to cry on camera. She doesn't want to be vulnerable. But she even said it herself. That moment of showing the fibroids or whatever was a moment that so many women resonated with. Like, Giselle could have been the person people were giving sympathy this season. Instead, she's going through the toughest time of her life, and people still don't like her or aren't liking her because of what she's doing to other people. It's like, girl, you have a problem right here in front of you that you should be addressing, talking about, putting on camera, letting people see. But instead, you want to talk about Chris and how he's this and he's that. And I just don't agree with it. And I'm glad that Andy put her to the fire, held her accountable a little bit. Like, he was still a little nice, probably because Giselle's his girl, and that's fine. But it needs to be said. And she's like, well, I don't think so. Okay, girl, you will never think so. Of course not, because you're a hypocrite. And who says, yeah, I'm a hypocrite? That's who I am. No one says that. So you're never going to admit it, but the truth is you are a hypocrite, a big hypocrite in how you handle people, how you treat different people on the show. Um, and it's, it's just crazy. And I'm glad Andy asked Mia, like, why were you so mad? It kind of doesn't make sense. And I'm glad that he was just asking those point blank questions, because when you ask those point blank questions, people have to answer. Like, why were you so mad? What was going on? What happened? And it's funny because Mia literally just was making things up. Just making things up without even just thinking about it. Like it's scary how easy it is for that girl to just lie. And she even says it later on in the reunion about how she says things. She'll go to bed and wake up and it's like it never happened, because that girl just talks. She don't even be saying nothing. She just be talking. So when she's trying to defend herself, she's still lying. Like, she's like, well, it's because you and Peter slept together. You gave Peter the cookie. Why are you lying? Like, this is just such a weird lie. I don't know why she's still lying. Like, Mia don't know how to tell the truth. Again, I love her, but she don't know how to tell the truth. And girl, I need you to get it together, please. Thank God Andy, I think it was before, but Andy asked Ashley, like, what did your friend Sesame Street say when you guys watched the clip? And even Ashley was like, oh, I was shocked that it didn't match. Girl, you knew. You had that girl come up on there and lie. And she said, but she maintains that the camera doesn't match the words, and it doesn't matter because he's mic'd, meaning that if there's any conversation between them, it was caught, and they have the mic. They don't have to show you them. They can show you the general area, but because he's mic'd, what he's saying is being caught. And Chris would have to be a plumb fool to go and start saying things when he knows that he's mic'd up. And because he's not, he didn't. But your friend, maybe she doesn't understand how reality TV works, because this is her first time on it. She thinks she could just say whatever she wants and make up any story and move on and talk about Happy Eddie. And even again, Andy was like, somebody smiling at you, like, now, like, it's crazy. And Wendy came and brought it together so beautifully, like she always does. That's what I will say about Wendy. She's so eloquent. So when she says stuff, I think it bothers the other women because they're not that smart. I don't know if maybe that's the word to use, but like when she says stuff, it sounds maybe like she thinks she's above them, but that's just her vocabulary and that's how she talks. And it just sounds so nice and eloquent. But she's right. She's like, these men now can't even say hi to the other housewives because it's going to be misconstrued, because these women don't know how to have normal relationships with men. It's like a normal thing. Saying hi to somebody that is your friend's wife, or your wife's friend, or somebody your wife knows, or somebody you work with, right? You go to work, you are kind, but the truth is, these women don't work. These women don't go into the world like normal people. So they're constantly, Giselle Bryant was a first lady in a church, and her husband was sleeping with the congregation. How do you come into the church and you're saying hi to the congregants, and 2-3 of them then had a child by your husband? That will always, this is church, so that will always skew how you view men and women in their relationship. So when Giselle comes and she starts talking, it's because she's talking up a place of not knowing. Ashley got with Michael Darby when she was like 22, 23. He's an old man. She's a young woman. They were going around doing whatever it is that they were doing. He was doing whatever he was doing on the side. She doesn't know a normal interaction between men and women, because all of her interactions probably have been something like that. And so I understand. Robin, she's married to Juan. Juan is a serial cheater, or was a serial cheater. She doesn't know that men and women could have normal interactions, because I'm sure men that try to talk to her, Robin is a very beautiful woman. I'm sure men that try to talk to her try to come in as if they're innocent, and then their sinister beliefs or values or whatever intentions come to play. Same with Mia as a stripper. She met G when G was still married to his wife. So how could any of these women understand a man coming to them and just being cordial when they've never experienced it? I don't blame them for that, but I wish that they could do better, right? And it's just sad. I also like Andy was holding Robin to the fire too. He was like, this whole fight between Mia and Wendy, you were talking about, oh, don't antagonize her, but you have a camera up recording the whole thing. Like, you're literally causing a problem. And then Robin, sorry for my squeaky chair, but then Robin wants to bring Karen into it, talking about, well, Karen, I thought Karen would be the one to tell them to stop fighting and relax and this and that. And Karen was like, girl, my name's Bennett and I ain't in it. Because it's like, you were the one who decided to take the action that you took. Talking about, I was hoping Karen would stand up and say, why would Karen be the one to say something? If you didn't, like, y'all didn't have to say anything. Y'all could have been like, wow, Mia, you're effed up. Relax, calm down. What are you doing? But no, you're videotaping, talk about stop antagonizing her. And Andy asked them, like, don't you think it's weird that you behaved this way and responded this way to violence, talking about, but when Monique did it, you guys were acting like it was crazy. And then you have the audacity to be like, oh, it's because I don't like Wendy. You don't have to like somebody to know right from wrong. And I'm so glad that that was said, because again, Giselle and Robin are queen deflectors. I'm not saying that Karen doesn't deflect. I think they all deflect a little bit. Not so much Candace. She's actually good at taking things head on. But Robin and Giselle deflect all the time. They think everything they do is the exception to the rule. No, it's not. It's part of the rule. You're not the exception. You'll never be the exception. Okay? Just, that's what it is. And so it just seemed really disingenuous responses. Like, oh, well, we don't like Wendy, so that's why. Okay, so if you don't like somebody, then they can get beat up. Got it. But if you like somebody at the time, because they like Candace, then they're off limits. You can't beat them up. It's just real raggedy on their parts. And they know that they're wrong, but they're over here trying to, make it seem like they're never wrong. And that is a problem I have with Giselle and Robin, is Giselle and Robin are never wrong. Everybody else can be wrong, raggedy, whatever, but them, nope, doesn't apply. I kind of like that Robin tried to call out Karen about copying everybody's ideas, but it's true. La Dame existed as a fragrance prior to Wendy even talking about candles. And I'm not saying, I don't remember exactly, I'm not going to sit here and say I remember that she talked about candles, but I will say that if you make fragrances, candles isn't too far of a leap, right? It's not like she was making hats and then said, oh, I'm gonna do candles. That would be a leap, right? That would be a leap that would be like, okay, what are you talking about? Or if you made makeup, like every hue that no one has heard about since season 1 or whatever. But yes, she also had a company and that disappeared. But if she made like Giselle, but if she made makeup like Giselle and then said she was doing candles, I'd be like, oh, that's strange. But fragrances to candles it's not a far leap to me. It might be, maybe it's a far leap. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I just like Karen. If that is a bias, please expose me. Tell me. I'm been exposed. But I don't feel like it is. I feel like fragrances and candles are in the same realm. So it doesn't surprise me. Then they talk about the variety show. Again, Karen, okay, so here's the funny thing. He said, Karen said she was having a live show after Giselle and Robin. Now, Karen claims that when they were at the park, her, Robin, Giselle, Ashley, maybe Ashley wasn't there yet, that she had mentioned also having a live show. Yeah. Now, I know production heard it and production could have played it back, but they chose not to. They could have either played it back or not, and they chose not to. And then Giselle just said, next topic. Now, we know Giselle. She trying to be shady, but if Karen really hadn't had that conversation, she would have looked like Karen. We never discussed that, but she didn't say that, and that's one thing about Giselle. Giselle will always say no when it's not, or she'll make that face like that. Also means yes, that happened, but I want to pretend like it didn't. But when something did not happen, Giselle will say no, that didn't happen. I don't recall, or that's not, But she was just like, she just said, next topic, Andy. Which to me makes it sound like they showed her face, they showed Robin's face, and neither one of them looked like they had never heard that before. It looked like they had heard it. And they knew what Karen was talking about, but they just didn't want to, you know, take it further. It's funny because Andy also asked Ashley, going back, about her fight with Candace. No, sorry. About her reaction to Monique's fight with Candace and her reaction to Mia and Wendy's fight, and how, she was more sympathetic to Wendy. And honestly, Ashley's response was kind of nice. She was like, no one was checking in on Wendy. Like, obviously we saw that Karen did, but it's true. She only had Karen and Candace, and it was like, okay, let me join them. Whereas everybody else was trying to act like the fight was her fault. I got a drink thrown on me. I was hit by a purse, and everybody's acting like it's my fault. I should actually tear all y'all up, because what? Let me tell you, Wendy was crying talking about it, and I kind of agree with her, because one thing about this show is it seems like time passes, and she even said it. She goes, I came and spoke to you and sat with you for the cohesiveness of the group, to get us back to a good space. And somebody was like, well, you were looking at vagina. She's like, girl, tequila. And trust me, when I'm drinking, everybody my friend. I don't have no enemies when I'm drunk. Well, certain drinks, because then certain drinks make me want to fight. But if I'm in a good, happy space and I'm drinking, I don't have no enemies. Even if you wronged me, I have no enemies. Sober me might remember the faults that the problems that you brought to me. And I think that, Ashley was correct. Like, I'm just going to be on her side, because it seems like she has nobody, and she didn't even start this problem. Like, this problem was started by somebody else, and now everybody's mad at her for it. Like, what the heck is going on? It doesn't make any sense. So I agree with Ashley. Very seldom do I do, but I did in that instance. And I feel so sorry for Wendy. I think, I don't even know if it's jealousy, but the fact that they don't like Wendy, I think it's maybe they're intimidated by her. I don't know if that's the word to use. Like, I can't tell you what it is. I don't know. Maybe Wendy is a bad person. Again, these are my opinions from watching the clips that they spliced together, right? Wendy could be an awful person, but to me, she just seems like a truth teller, and not a truth teller and like, oh, I'm gonna say something mean about you, but it's like, if you trying to come say something about me and disparage me, I'm gonna disparage you back with facts, right? Because you're trying to talk about me with fiction. I'm gonna come and talk about you with facts. And that's the problem that they don't like, because they was talking about Michelle Obama watching, and Wendy is like, when you go low, we will go to hell, right? And it's like, that's where we going. We going to hell to take this. And, Michelle Obama told us to go high. And I love you, Michelle. I really do. But I'm going low. We going to hell. You want to go low with me? I will see you with Satan. Okay? So I'm on Wendy's side for that. And that's why they don't like her, because she's not coming like with some fake beef. She's going to be like, that's why your man cheating on you and this, and your coochie dried up. And she's down here. She's in the ground. She's down below. She is so low with it. I love it though. But I just think that they aren't giving Wendy a fair shot, because I feel like, again, everyone has gone low with everyone, but for some reason, Wendy is not being forgiven for her low, right? Like, we saw that Robin had her finger in Ashley's face, we saw that Candace and Giselle were once cool, right? But we're not seeing anybody forgiving Wendy for anything. It's like once they're done, they're like, no, we're never going to forgive her. And I feel like a part of that is because they're intimidated by her, or they want her, the position she's in. They want a man that would love them so much they would disown their family, or they want a man that would support her and just be there and be behind her. And I think it's the same problem they kind of have with Ashley. Like, they don't know that, and it probably bothers them a little bit. I'm not saying it's the full thing, but just a little bit. Okay, then coming towards the end, what is that girl's name? I literally blanked. Mia's best friend comes out. I don't know why I'm blanking on her name. I want to call her Jasmine, but that's not her name. Jacqueline, that's her name. She comes out to discuss her and Mia's beef. And you know, it's kind of sad because we're watching a true friendship break up on our screens, right, in front of us. And I just find it to be really sad. Like, I think that Mia got on television. She got too big for her britches. Like, she was like, I am better than this girl now. Like, yeah, she helped me, but her husband isn't as rich as mine, this and that, and I don't need her anymore. And so I'm going to treat her like the underling that she is. Whereas I think Jacqueline was thinking like, oh, I'm coming to be on the show with my best friend and we about to do it up. And she got there and it just seemed like Mia was taking every opportunity to take a dig at her on camera. And to me, I get Jacqueline's frustration, her anger. It's like, girl, I came here to support you. And I'm getting low blows. I'm getting digs. I'm being treated like these girls who you don't even like. And it's crazy. And Mia even admitted it right then and there. Like, no, Jacqueline has always supported me. So that's clearly not the issue here. The issue, from my perspective, is that Mia thinks she's now better than Jacqueline. And even Andy brought it up. Did you feel that before Jacqueline put you underneath her and now you're trying to return the favor, right? And she said no, but it's like, I don't know. And here's the thing. She's like, we've had worse blow-ups. We've had worse fights. We've said meaner things. And it's like, yes, not on camera though, right? We're talking to each other as friends, saying mean things. But when no one else hears and you apologize, it's like, okay, well, no harm, no foul. But now you saying this with millions of viewers who are now going to turn around and think they know me, Jacqueline, and start talking about me crazy. I sleep with married men. I do this, I do that. And that's not quite true. Or maybe it is. Who knows? I don't know, because I'm not friends with them for real. But it's just crazy to me because I feel like Mia could have been a better friend to Jacqueline after bringing her in. It's almost like she brought her in to just smash her down and be rude to her. But it's like, you should have brought her in and uplifted her the way she was trying to support you. But Jacqueline claims to have tea on the joint and the business, so I'm excited to see that. We get to see Charisse come in. It's funny because Karen has been very quiet. Somebody mentioned that. I mean, no one has come for her, right? So no one has come for her. And anybody who has said anything about Karen, she has immediately snapped back. But she's been a little subdued and a little quiet. I'm not sure, this could be me, if maybe she's gotten some recent Botox and maybe she's trying not to move too much, because when she's talking, it looks like one side of her mouth isn't really moving and then some parts up here aren't really moving. So I don't know if that's part of the problem, why she's being so quiet and subdued, but she might have gotten a little bit of work done and she's just trying to hold it up. But I am excited to see what happens in part 3. Charisse comes out. The husbands come out. It's a 90-minute episode, so I'm excited to see. I need to see Chris go off on Giselle because I have been waiting on that since I first saw her talking about Chris. And I see online, people are like, why is Chris in women's business? They're literally talking about him. That's not women's business. That's his business. I don't know why people get this idea that women should be able to say anything and do anything to men, and men are just supposed to be like, it's just a woman talking. I don't care. She's literally ruining his brand and his business talking about him. He should be pissed. He should be going off on her. Is he going to hit her? Is he going to fight her? Absolutely not. But can he argue and say his point and be upset? Yes, he can and he should. So, I don't know. I'm excited for part 3. I love when the husbands come out because, you know, everybody got a husband but Giselle. And Juan don't show up because he don't like Robin. I'm gonna stick behind that. Well, I don't know. He says he's busy. But yeah, so I'm excited to see it. I want Juan to come back. I don't think we've seen Juan since season 3, but I want him back. You know, because he's still fine. He's still fine. We still want to see him on our screens. And, you know, maybe Giselle will have a man sitting behind her at some point. You know, I know not all the housewives always have husbands, so that's okay. But they keep saying that maybe the Winter House guy or Summer House, dang, why do I not remember that? Jason will be there for her next season. I hope so, because Giselle, please, we are tired of watching you talk about other people. I want to see you talk about yourself. Your girl's getting ready to go to college, I think. One of the oldest daughters is getting ready to go, so hopefully that's incorporated. We see her maybe taking college tours. I don't know. I just need a different storyline with Giselle besides other people's man and other people's problems. I would love to see it. So I will see you guys next time. Please come back, like, comment, subscribe, share. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. And I will see you next time. Bye.